Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey and I'm here today for a new vlog. So if you've been watching my channel for a couple of years, I have this playlist, this video series down below called Kelsey Reads Romance. This is the 5th edition of the series, I think. And because I have been going so strong and reading a lot of romance lately, I wanted to make it a special deal. But not only did I want to make it a special deal, but I also wanted to base it on something that I think could be one of my favorite tropes. Lately, because The Last of Us has been on, and I missed House of Dragon, I missed the entire season of House of Dragon, I have been watching one episode of House of Dragon before an episode of The Last of Us. And the last episode I watched, I'm not going to get into spoilers, but it had the princess and guard trope. And I know what happens with them. Don't tell me, okay? But what came out of my body when I watched that scene was incredible. I discovered a love for something that I did not know I had, nor did I know existed, that I needed to read immediately. Now, I don't know who I thought I was, because I love fantasy. So obviously the romance I would like would probably be some sort of conglomerate of fantasy. And I love historical fantasy especially. So why wouldn't I love the knight and princess trope? I don't know who I thought I was. But basically, I will be reading a couple of books this week that are the knight and princess trope. Honestly, I didn't know where to start. I never read this before in books, besides like Sansa and the Hound, and I'm not gonna talk about that. I'm not gonna talk about my love for that. I don't think it's normal. But the number one book that came recommended was For My Lady's Heart by Laura Kinsale. And I've heard about Laura Kinsale before. I think she's like a pretty well-known historical romance writer. And I think the historical romance girlies are laughing at me. They are making fun of me because this is the first book I will be reading from her. Now, I downloaded the version that has the like new and improved editorial adjustments to it. The original one was written in very medieval language. And while I did take medieval English courses during my English degree, I don't really feel like reading Sir Gawain and the Green Knight and Beowulf and the Canterbury Tales right now. I just want to read smut. So I bought this version because it has the like modern translation of it. But essentially, this book takes place in medieval Europe. Vows and laws are inflexible and confining as a suit of armor. For Ruck, a noble and honest knight, those rules provided an unwavering path, even as his wife leaves him for the church, taking his money and his steed. Ruck's life is one of devotion and mission. For the beautiful widow, Princess Melanthe, those same laws and traditions conspired to consume her land and her independence. Her husband's death has left her kingdom an inviting target for neighboring territories. Where Ruck sees a clear path, Melanthe must navigate through twisting alleyways using shrewd deceit and devious strategy. Can these two help each other to overcome the powers conspiring against them? Will the passion in their hearts escape the constraints of their station? Is devotion enough? We will find out. It will be the first book I'm reading. I plan to read 3, so this will be the first book, and I will update you whenever I feel it necessary, and doth will hear about it. Okay, later. Okay, ignore my fridge in the background. In the prologue, basically, we're interacting with what will be our knight, our main hero. And he is married, but what ends up happening is that he gets married before he's knighted, goes to Paris, gets knighted, he comes back. His wife is like, knights can't fuck. We can't be doing this stuff against God. And then it says, for a week he'd had his way with her, in spite of the weeping, in spite of the praying and begging, but it was only when she'd taken to screaming he'd found it more than he could endure. This is our love interest. I'm starting to question this decision, but we will prevail. Hello, I have moved to the bed because I'm just going to read in bed before sleeping because I'm trying to be a good person and not be on TikTok for 17 hours before I go to sleep. And I'm starting, big brain energy over here, I'm starting to think that this is based on Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, which thankfully my English literature brain knows about. but also because she's putting in quotes from Sir Gawain and the Green Knight at the beginning of every section part. I don't know how related it will be, but we'll see. It doesn't make me like Rook, I think his name is, anymore, because he's also like pissed that the princess doesn't remember him, but like they met one time and he, like, his wife was going to a convent. So why the fuck would she remember you is my question. But maybe this has some relation to Sir Gawain and the Green Knight that I'm not remembering. Needless to say, I don't know if I'm enjoying this one this much, but we'll see when we get to the smut. We will see when we get to the smut. Hi, I am currently working, but I did want to give a quick update for My Lady's Heart. I'm so, like, the amount of disappointed I am currently is insane. I'm not enjoying this book. I've been debating DNFing it. And I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but I hate it. The reason I'm scared to DNF for My Lady's Heart, I can't even remember the freaking name. But anyways, the reason I'm scared to DNF that book is because that's like the most classic of the books that I'm going to be reading. The other two are, they have the trope, but they kind of switch it on its head a little bit. And I just wanted to read something pure. I just wanted to read the actual trope. They haven't even done anything yet. This book is so slow. And it's making me really sad. And I don't know. I think I can't like Rook as a main character. I think I'm convincing myself to DNF, but like, you're just gonna be along in the process. I find the book so incredibly slow. I don't like the two characters. Princess Melanthe, or whatever her name is annoying. And I mean, maybe that should be something that we need to consider, or I need to take into consideration, because it is involving princesses, and these are women that grow up with incredible wealth and incredible privilege, and they often are above their literal subjects. So maybe something I should be expecting, but I can't stand Melanthe. Rook obviously very casually sexually assaulted his wife and mentioned it in the beginning of the book, and is frustrated that Melanthe doesn't remember. I literally hate him so much. I hate the writing. I don't know if this is due to the type of book it is, but I really don't like her writing. I thought, like, when you think of Laura Kinsale, like, that's a name I've heard before. I don't know if her writing gets better. In this book, it's garbage. And that could also be because I'm reading her like modern version, that she tried to modernize it. Then the last thing is that it's so obviously a Sir Gawain and the Green Knight like type of retelling. And if I have to hear about how his horse is green one more fucking time, I'm going to explode. So I think I've made the executive decision to DNF this book, and I'm going to start one of the other books. This is Honor Splendor by Julie Garwood. In the feuding English court, Lady Madeline suffered the cruel whims of her ruthless... Oh, this is the one where it's a bad boy. I feel like I'm going to like this one. And then this is A Knight in Shining Armor, but it's kind of like Outlander in a way, I'm pretty sure, because I think the princess, or the damsel in distress, comes from the future, which I think could be really interesting. I think I'm going to enjoy these books way more than For My Lady's Heart. It has taken me like 4 days to read 10% of For My Lady's Heart because I hate it so much. It also doesn't help that there's no audiobook. I think if there was an audiobook, I would have finished it already, but alas, I will be diving in. I think I need a good old bad boy. And the reason I'm going to say this is because if he is a bad boy, but he's a knight, that means he's bad to everybody but the princess. And I love that. We stand a Rottweiler, and I'm ready for this. Hopefully there will be no mention of sexual harassment and or assault. But we'll see. I will be starting this audiobook very soon. I'm about ready to fall asleep. I know it's very obvious, but I am already 65 pages into this book. This is what I wanted. It's kind of a knight romance, but it's basically between one princess and the like opposing castles knight, or lord, and he comes to basically steal her away because her brother, who is the prince, duke, lord of their castle, whatever, is a dick. Completely different from the knight in the first book we were reading. There's a lot of discussions already on sexual assault. They're talking about how, what is her name? Lady Madeline. Her brother is actually like the evil one. Like, even though she's grown up in this world to think that the wolf, which is the knight that has stolen her, basically, she's grown up thinking that he's an evil guy, when in reality she's starting to learn that her brother was actually this evil man and is the one she should be scared of rather than the wolf. And the wolf is showing to be a very kind man, and he's taking her away from Loudon in order to like save her, which obviously I'm loving. Is she experiencing Stockholm syndrome? Sure, we can make that argument, but I really appreciate like what Julie Garwood is doing to establish this conversation, at least, about sexual assault and how this is very prevalent in medieval writing and medieval literature. And she's kind of like stepping on that trope and painting the knight, painting the person that we're supposed to like in a more positive light as someone who doesn't do those things, basically. I think it's fairly obvious that I'm enjoying this way more because I'm already like 50 pages further than I was in the original book, the first book. And I was really scared that I wasn't gonna like these books. Even though it's not technically a knight and princess trope, like it kind of is, but he's like a bad boy. So it's giving me that bad boy part of romance that I enjoy. So we'll see how this goes, but I'm exhausted and my eyelids are, they're telling me to go to bed. They're telling me to sleep, and that's what I need to do, especially because I work tomorrow. Oh my God, I just noticed my nails match the cover. Another sign that this will be the book for me. Okay, for real, bye. Hello. So first of all, excuse if you hear my boyfriend in the shower, but I had to wait for him to go to the shower because I've been waiting for them to bone, and baby, they did. Oh, it is a blessed day. This book has surprised me, I think, way more than any book I read in a really long time, because I knew I would enjoy this trope, but I didn't think I was going to find books that would captivate me in such a manner. A lot of what I thought was going to happen was like with the first book, just not as bad. So I genuinely thought that like there was going to be a lot of sexism, a lot of like manly men. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. But what I really appreciate in this book is that the girl is tough. She does speak her mind, but there's a lot of discussion surrounding sexual assault, which I think I've mentioned, but I really appreciate that this is being discussed in the book. And then also that Duncan, the wolf, the main love interest, is super respectful of Madeline's like feelings and her expectations of their relationship. Like, I honestly think it was beautifully done on Julie Garwood's part. And just for plot's sake, I'm not gonna get too much into the plot, but there is a marriage of convenience at this point between the two characters. And because they got married, but he's like super respectful about the fact that she's nervous and that she's apprehensive to it and scared. And I found it to be so beautiful. The realization of the two of them and their feelings towards another, and how their feelings towards another are beneficial to both of them, and the situation that they are placed in currently, is just so cute and so wonderful. And honestly, like, this feels at the very least a 4-star. Like, something would have to happen at the end of the book that would piss me the fuck off for me to not give this anything lower than a 4-star, because genuinely I'm loving this, and I'm really hoping that the next book is good, because I'm hoping that I didn't start with the best one first. But that is my update for now. I have about 150 or so pages left. The goal is definitely to finish it, whether it's not tonight, tomorrow morning for sure. So I will get back to you on my final thoughts. Hello, good morning. So it is just turned 12 o'clock. Right now, if you hear the washing machine on, I'm just cleaning my bed sheets, you know, being an adult today. I did want to come on here and update because last night I finished Honor Splendor by Julie Garwood, and I swear to God, guys, I'm shook. I'm a changed woman. I don't know what's happening to me. But basically, shock doesn't even begin to express like what I was feeling when I finished this book last night. I think that I have definitely found my niche of historical romance. I definitely think like medieval times, old England, princess and knight type of romances, I think are for me. But this, I think, set the bar to what I genuinely like. Now that I have the comparison between Honor Splendor and For My Lady's Heart, I could definitely see that there are specific things that I need in my romances. So basically, the heroine in this one, Madeline, she was very quite strong, but she was still like, not naive in a sense, that's not what I'm trying to say, but like very much growing up in a privileged lifestyle. And she just finds a man who wants to take care of her and wants to be there for her. And the love interest, the man, is this like gruffy, like, oh, I don't love anybody. Nobody ever saw me have a sense of feelings, until he meets the woman that he loves. And that's the key. That is the pinpoint that I absolutely love. Everybody is, or at least Madeline grew up thinking that Baron Duncan is this like evil man who kills people at a whim. Everybody's scared of him. Everybody that goes to Madeline's family's court is scared of the wolf. And when Madeline kind of gets kidnapped, listen, there are things that we have to accept in these books. One of them is kidnapping. When Madeline gets taken away from her brother, she realizes that Duncan is obviously like not the most horrible guy in the world. And I absolutely love that. He takes care of her. He loves her. Everything was great in this book. He would literally kiss the ground she walks on. That's how much he loves her. And I love that. I haven't read this genre before, so I don't really know if this is like pretty standard to knight and princess romances. Obviously, as you guys know, I DNF'd For My Lady's Heart just because I could not take the love interest, because he was like the opposite of this. Like, he was very demanding in what he expected of the women around him. Like with his first wife, he was upset that she didn't want to have sex with him and would take her as he will. And then when he approaches the princess character, our main love interest, I guess you could say, he's like offended that she doesn't remember him. And I just really didn't like that. And Duncan is setting the bar. Duncan is saying like this woman is so funny to me and she's so clumsy and I just want to take care of her because she would be lost in this world. And I love that. I just love that. And I don't know if this is the norm, like I said, but this really surprised me because I wasn't expecting that. I also think Julie Garwood's writing specifically was really, really fun, really engaging. I couldn't put this book down. It was just super easy to read. But at the same time, I think her writing also really set the tone and placed me in the setting that I was supposed to be. As For My Lady's Heart, not to compare them this whole time, but like that book was really telling you like, I am a Sir Gawain and the Green Knight retelling. I am set in a medieval setting. This is the way they talk. Every opening started with like some sort of poem from Sir Gawain and the Green Knight or King Arthur or something like that to really like set the tone. But Julie Garwood just set you in the setting. Like, we didn't need these like obvious nods to medieval literature, you know what I mean? And while I can appreciate a medieval literature geek, I think Julie Garwood just did it a bit better to set you in there while also not overwhelming you with medieval like references. The way that their relationship developed is exactly what I came here for. I really wanted like a high-strung princess who is placed in like an environment or a household that she doesn't really know anything about. She's subverting her thoughts about her previous life. He's like, I just love you and I want to take care of you and I need to protect you. And it was just great. It was just a fun time. The only thing I didn't like about this book was the last chapter. I think it ended on a good note the chapter before. And I just didn't feel like we needed to have that like extra closing just so everybody knows that Princess Madeline is safe. Like, I think it was fairly well like suggested in the chapter before. That was the only thing I didn't like. So I ended up giving this a 4.5 stars, but I swear to God, guys, I thought this was perfect and I love it. And I can't wait to read more from Julie Garwood. I think like she might be a bitch that I continue to pick up because I feel safe with her. And then this morning I started A Knight in Shining Armor by Jude Deveraux. I'm really not that far in, I'm only 20 pages, but what this book is about, it follows a woman named Douglas who is in 1989. Her and her boyfriend are going to England on this trip, but you can quickly tell that her boyfriend obviously is a piece of shit, because if he wasn't a piece of shit, we wouldn't be wanting her to go back in time to the medieval ages. So the novel starts off with this prologue of a man writing a letter or whatever, and he just hears this woman crying and he's like, God damn it, like, why is this woman crying? It's distracting me, I need to go save her. And then it jumps forward to the 1989 timeline where we're learning about this character named Douglas, who is obviously trying to convince herself to stay in a shitty relationship. It's not as like profound as that, because I think for the way this novel is written, she's like, like maybe this guy is good and like I should, like, you know, like she I wouldn't say like I'm enjoying Douglas's character or perspective right now, but maybe that'll change when she's placed in medieval England. It definitely reminds me of Outlander. I've never read Outlander, but I know like the gist of Outlander. So far the writing is okay, but it could be just because her writing isn't meaningful or profound in a contemporary setting, and it will be really good in the medieval setting. We'll see. I'm really hoping that I enjoy this because I don't want to have read the best book of the video before the video ends. I don't want to end on another DNF. So as for what we're gonna do today, probably gonna listen to most of this while I do whatever stuff around the house I need to do. And then we have to go return something to the mall, which I absolutely hate doing, even though it takes 2 seconds. Like, I just hate going to the mall for no reason. And then we're probably gonna go do other things. So maybe I'll take you along. If I remember, I'll do it. But who knows with me and B-roll. Hello, I just got home from watching The Last of Us. Was it horrible? Yes. It was episode 6. I don't want to talk about it. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. However, today I got 100 pages into A Knight in Shining Armor. Here to say, friends, that it is not Honor Splendor, let me tell you that. I think the writing in this and the main character is extremely juvenile. I don't know if I spoke about it in a previous clip, but I find her to be incredibly immature. But you know, she wished for a knight in shining armor. And is this lighting better? Oh yeah. Oh, and she wished for a knight in shining armor and she got him. So basically it's reverse Outlander. He came forward, I guess, from the 15th century. And the main character, she's like, oh, he's just pretending. He lost his memory and he's like a medieval scholar or whatever. But she's really immature. Like, her boyfriend like left her in England and she's like, oh, maybe he'll come back and he'll see me with this like hot stud and he'll like want me back. And he's like, I just want to go back to the time where women didn't have rights. No, obviously he wants to go back because he is in the midst of something going wrong with his family. And we find out from like historical documents that he was beheaded this specific night. They made an agreement that like he'll help her get back to America and see her shitty boyfriend. And she'll help him like get back to the 15th century, but also like maybe change history, but she also at the same time doesn't really believe him. I saw a lot of like positive comments about this. I just think the writing is terribly immature. Our main character is really immature. The knight's kind of chill. He's a cool dude, but she is annoying the fuck out of me. She's so annoying. Can't say I'm enjoying it as much, but I'm not hating it as much as I hated For My Lady's Heart. So there's positive and negatives, but this will take quite a bit to even reach the status of Honor Splendor. So I will update you in a bit. I just got home. My boyfriend's still not home from hockey, so I'll probably watch a bit more. Oh my God, where's my brain? I'll read a bit more, and maybe update you tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to the spa. I'm getting a massage, and I'm going to the like Old Porty downtown part of Montreal. So if I remember, I will vlog. Hello, I got home from my day out of massage and eating day to myself. I'm about at page 300 of this. I just want it to be done. I'm fed up of our main character. She's so annoying. She only thinks about like how much of a shit person she is, and like the knight falls in love with her obviously, but like I don't know. His story is really interesting, and that's the only thing that's keeping me engaged. I'll be honest, it's not the smut, it's not the romance, it's the historical soap opera that this man lived through in the 15th century. Just when I think that it's over, that they solved everything, blah, 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 he gets taken back to his time, but then she also gets pulled back to his time 4 years before the events that pulled him into her time 4 years before that. Does that make sense? So now she's trying to help him there, and I guess the moral of the story is that like they help each other in their own times and they fall in love and they're meant for each other, blah blah blah. I just want to know why Nicholas was betrayed, who betrayed him to Queen Elizabeth, why was he beheaded, you know? And I don't really care if they get together. This has been very disappointing. I'm listening to it on 3 times speed. I just want it to be over, and I will update you when I'm done because hopefully I will finish this today. Hello, so it is the end of the video, it is the end of the vlog, and it's time for me to wrap everything up. But first, my final thoughts on A Knight in Shining Armor. Guys, I can't say I have good news. I cannot say that we ended this vlog with a bang, literally, because there was barely any smut in here. But I can't also say that we ended this in like a love bang either. Like I don't know where to start. I think it was pretty prevalent through reading this book that we were not going to jive. I knew from the very first chapter that this was just not going to be a book that I enjoyed. And that's particularly because, as I mentioned several times, the main character was insufferable. Her motivations for doing whatever she does, I could not comprehend them. I didn't understand her. She was the most frustrating perspective I think I've read from in romance for a while. I feel like I have some experience now in romance, and I can confidently say that she was an extremely frustrating character. I could not relate to her. I could not understand her. And I found myself rolling my eyes whenever she would bring up any point about anything in the entire book. Her relationship at the beginning of the novel with her boyfriend Robert, and consequently his daughter, was infuriating. And that was mostly because it was so unbelievable and like laughable that this would actually happen, that she would actually allow this to happen. Did not make sense to me. The only element of the book, and I think that I hope that came across through my updates, is that the actual story of Nicholas as this like baron to royalty was interesting, and the wanting or the need to change the way he's perceived in history was something that was not just something, it was the only thing that kept me engaged. I wanted to see how the novel ended. I wanted to see what happens with Nicholas. Does he go back? Does history change? Like, I was just curious about that aspect. And I wanted to see, like, honestly, what sort of twisty and unthinkable thing this author could come up with to explain why they were not going to be together and why Nicholas still had a happy ending. I also think who the main character inevitably ends up with was fine, I guess. I think if I like the characters and I like the book overall, I think I would have enjoyed that final chapter. But that's it. Besides the plot of Nicholas, I did not enjoy anything else in the book, and I ended up giving this a 2 stars. Which means that this vlog was a fail. I was debating reading another night romance, but then I was like, you know what? I think I just need a break from these romances. I obviously am taking a really long time with the ones that I don't like, and I just need a break. I didn't want to fill this vlog with potentially another one that I hated. So I just decided we're going to cap it here. We have 1 successful, 2 fails. Let's just go over them. So the first book that I read for this vlog was For My Lady's Heart by Lucy Kinsale, and I DNF'd this at 10%. The main love interest knight was horrendous. He was a horrible man, and I just could not read from his perspective anymore. I really disliked him, and maybe he has some redeemable qualities that I'm sure we get into, because he's going to be great at sex and really protective of our main character, but I just did not care. We'll move in straight to this one so that we can at least end on a positive note. We have A Knight in Shining Armor, which I gave 2 stars. As mentioned, main character insufferable, the story insufferable. The only thing that kept me engaged was whether or not Nicholas was going to be redeemed throughout history, and that was it. Writing, horrendous, everything. I just did not enjoy this at all. But then positively, Honor Splendor by Julie Garwood. Fantastic. Gave this a 4.5 stars. Had an amazing heroine, an amazing hero, a perfect blend of plot and romance and smut that I think is needed and was needed for me this week. And I just absolutely adored this. This is the book out of all of them that I would highly, highly, highly recommend. And I'm debating reading more from Julie Garwood. That is how much I really like this book. As for the other authors, I don't trust them at all. So if you're going to take anything from this vlog, read this book. But that's it. That's how I feel. I'm sorry to end this vlog on such a dim note, but if you have any suggestions for amazing romances about knights and princesses or anything along that dynamic, please comment them down below. I really would like to know, and I really would like to like more knight princess romances because I like them as a trope. I like it in television. I just really hated these books. But if you would like to follow me on any of my other social medias, I do leave a link down below to my Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram if you would like to follow me there. And of course, because it is the end of the vlog, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. I tell you every time, but it does wonders for my channel and it makes me feel really good. And that's it. I don't ever know how to end these things. Please tell me the smuttiest knight romance you know down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!